mole concepts and stoichiometry. In this chapter, we have to do numericals based on empirical formula and molecular formula. First of all, what are empirical and molecular formulas? Empirical formula is the lowest whole number ratio of the atoms of the elements in a compound. The chemical formula that shows the actual number of atoms in a compound is called molecular formula. For example, hydrogen peroxide has empirical formula HO. Water has empirical as well as molecular formula H2O. Glucose has molecular formula C6H12O6, but its empirical formula will be CH2O. Calcium chloride has empirical as well as molecular formula CaCl2. Steps to calculate empirical formula. First, obtain the mass of each element present in grams. Determine the number of moles of each type of atoms present. Divide the number of moles of each element by the smallest number of moles. Then convert these numbers to whole numbers, and this set of whole numbers will give the empirical formula of a compound. Let us take an example. Calculate the empirical formula of a compound which has percentage composition of 27.29% carbon and 72.71% of oxygen. For calculation, we make a table. In that table, in the first column, write the elements. In the second column, write the percentage given, then atomic weights of the elements. In the fourth column, we calculate relative number of moles, which is given mass upon atomic mass. So in this case, for carbon, it becomes 2.27, and for oxygen, it is 4.54. Out of these two values, whichever is the smaller, divide both the values by that. So carbon is 2.27 upon 2.27 is equal to 1. For oxygen, it is 4.54 upon 2.27 is equal to 2. These two numbers will give the value of empirical formula. So it becomes CO2. Molecular formula. Calculation. Molecular formula can be calculated in the same way. First we calculate empirical formula, then calculate molecular formula by using the relationship molecular formula is equal to N into empirical formula. N is equal to molecular mass upon empirical formula mass. Let us take an example. Calculate the empirical and molecular formulas of a compound that contains 80% of carbon and 20% of hydrogen. The given molecular mass of the compound is 30 grams. For this problem, again, first we make the table and calculate empirical formula in the same way as discussed before. So for this problem, it is calculated as CH3. Then molecular formula is equal to N into empirical formula. N is equal to molecular mass upon empirical formula mass. Molecular mass is given 30 upon empirical formula mass is calculated 15. So N is equal to 2. Therefore, molecular formula will be 2 into empirical formula, that is 2 into CH3, so it becomes C2H.